Um, Hi everyone, uh, this is Ikramul Haq, Pioneer AI Ambassador for Lahore. It's time I think we should start now and people will join along with when we started. Hello everyone, this is Ikramul Haq. I am Pioneer AI Ambassador for Lahore and working as a machine learning engineer at Arbisoft. And I have been organizing these Pioneer AI events for like a year now in Lahore, and unfortunately, all the events have been online due to COVID-19. Um, Today we have Ammar as our guest speaker. Thank you so much, Ammar, for joining us and for giving us your precious time.
It's my pleasure, Ikram. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. And currently, there are four ambassadors of Pi and AI who are organizing this event with me, and we are coming with a series of different lessons that we are planning using this platform. So, not taking that much time, Amar, it would be great if you can take over and start with it.
Yeah, it would be great, actually. Yeah.
Thank
Thank you, Ikram, and thanks everyone from the ambassadors who invited me. It's my pleasure to be here today. I prefer not to have this as a like person to audience. It would be great if we can make it a bit interactive after like giving a bit of introduction about myself and what I know. And we can then like exchange knowledge and give each others what we know to each others. You know, like I would say what I know and others would correct me if they have other opinion about the same thing. So hello everyone. My name is Ammar. I'm Lebanese from Lebanon, and I'm also French. I studied software engineering, and I'm currently working in a company in Italy, where I'm doing my PhD. So I'm enthusiastic about AI. I've been like for 3 years now, 4 years now. I've done many courses using different platforms, Coursera, Udemy, YouTube, Medium, every possible thing, and like maybe 60 plus or something. And then that's the major thing. Then I've done some let me say some work related stuff for my PhD. I'm working about on edge AI, like everything that's on the edge for AI using low computational power for maritime application in the sea. So our company actually makes sure that the maritime applications and IoT are safe. So that's what we do, and that's the center of my research actually. And in the same time, I work with Coursera with deep learning AI to maintain some courses and mentor some courses, and this would be my main path that I'm going to be talking about. So let me start by pointing out some major points in our domain. Uh, Ikram, would you have like some idea how would we run this, or should I speak freely about the AI learning path towards TensorFlow certification?
Yeah, it would be great if you can start it with basic because I hope a lot of students from the university, maybe beginners in AI, are joining us today. So, would be great if you'll start from the very beginning, how they can enter in the AI or in the market from academia.
Okay, that's a really good question because um, a greater question would be asked now. Why would you go into AI? Why would you mind yourself and go into a really complicated type of knowledge? You could go into software engineering where everything at the end would be regulated because the humans did this and the humans know everything about it. There's no code in the world, a traditional code that runs and nobody know how it runs. At least someone knows. And that's not the case for AI, and we should accept that it isn't the case. For example, if we have like an AI algorithm that detects a face, and like the normal face recognition task for mobile phones, some would actually know how would this work, but we wouldn't know how the AI model is learning this from the inside. What are the features that are being learned? What are the characteristics of the face that he saves or something? So that's one thing. The other thing is that when you know that you want to go into this world, maybe for money because it has lots of work now. Maybe for I don't know, for need because maybe your country or your mission in the world accepts being there. Wherever, whatever was the reason, it is great, and you could start thinking, how should I start? So as we all know, AI is about math. So there's lots of math behind it. And you can step over. It is possible to step over math and go directly into application. But you wouldn't be an AI engineer. You would be an AI developer. Like, let's say the difference between software engineer and software developer is the same between being an AI engineer and an AI developer. Because a software developer is an important person. We all know that. And he makes lots of things possible. But what what is the importance of a software engineer is the one who knows the basics and the one who is always able to run uh, low level ideas. Like if we have a problem that we haven't faced before, the software engineer would be there and the software developer would be there and he will be saying that, yeah, we haven't seen this before and all of this. But if we have a software engineer who knows the basics behind it and we have a certain problem, he would think about how is this problem could be managed and how would we think about that. This is one thing. So when we decide to go into AI and we know that there's lots of math, lots of linear algebra, lots of algebra in general, you would decide here if you want to be like a good practitioner or a normal one, because it is okay to be either one of those. So when you decide to be a good practitioner, you would either ways, you need to believe that you will have a problem of time because it needs a bit of time to know this type of knowledge. Because when you think about learning any type of knowledge that we already know, let's think about history. So what type of history education is there? Like you need to know some incidents, you need to memorize them, and then you need to recite them at the end. That's the type of education. In math, you need to learn some methods and some rules and like algorithms, and then you would apply whatever input you have to this. But in AI, you will merge like 3 to 4 to 5 types of knowledge together, which isn't traditional. For example, let's say that we are making a uh, cat versus dogs detector algorithm, and every cat picture that we have input to the algorithm, to the model, is in the night, and every dog input that we have put in the model is in the day. The algorithm would give us an accuracy of 100%, but the test accuracy, the actual test accuracy that we tested on a non-seen data, a new data, would be 50%, which is random because we only have 2 classes. So 50% is doing random. So in this case, we would say that the problem isn't with math, neither with AI, neither with the algebra, neither with the wherever. The problem is with the picture selection. So we would reverse engineer our steps and input different type of pictures, because in this model the actual thing that we have learned is differentiating day and night and not dog and cat. So this is the type of errors and this is the type of mentality that we need. So you decided to go there and you decided to start studying AI. First steps is to like for me, okay, so this isn't a one answer thing, everyone could answer this differently. So I'm gonna answer this my way because you know everyone could have a different answer. So for me, I think you should start by taking some courses that are interactive. For example, like Andrew and G courses are really good on deep learning AI on Coursera, and you could see someone talking. After that, after taking a good amount of courses, for example, let's say there's a course called, I'm not doing advertisement here, but I think those are really well. This is why I'm citing the names. So the first course is called AI for Everyone. So this course is a non-technical course that gives you a big idea about uh, the word of AI and what it can and cannot do and what are the limitations. Therefore, when you take this course, you would have a brighter idea about this word, this new word, let me say. Next, you would start technically with taking maybe an AI course, not even machine learning, AI algorithms, like low level. Uh, Maybe Michigan University on Coursera also has some course about that. Then you would take a machine learning course, which is machine learning from Stanford. Then you would take deep learning, NLP, GANs, wherever, lots of courses. There are like many options. And after finishing this, I call it preset of knowledge, you would go into books. And this is where the actual magic comes because in courses, you would take a major idea, some specific application would be shown to you through the assignments and the quizzes, but you would not have the actual knowledge. So I'm going to give you a really great example, I think. Uh, Give me a moment. This is the Harry Potter book, the first edition. So if you see the movie, it's called The Philosopher's Stone. If you see the first movie of Harry Potter and you read the book, you would think that there's like a big major difference. And this applies here as well. Like even in AI, when you take a course of machine learning, they would teach you some like maybe 4 or 5 algorithms, and the methodology of learning would apply on the others, but you wouldn't actually learn everything. So this is why I think it's important to dive into books. And in the same time, as I did, when I started with books, I started with making projects monthly. Like I did a plan that I need to make a project for myself, like apply something, do something every month. And the type of data needs to be different. For example, for the first months, it was images. Second months, it was like video, which is images with time. Third month, it was an LP about like voices. The fourth month, it was GANs, and I'm currently in the fifth month of this plan. And yeah, that's one side. The other side is typical education and academia. If you can go into a bachelor or master's degree or PhD degree in AI, that would be great because this would give you a big time to dive into a certain topic into AI. Um, then, after finishing some of these steps, I decided to prove my knowledge to myself and be more confident with what I'm doing. And I decided to do the uh, TensorFlow certification. So this isn't a very simple exam. It takes some time. It needs like 5 6 hours, and you need to set the environment on your PC before. It has like five quizzes, let me say, 5 exercises, and you need to train on your local machine. Um, the dataset is preloaded on PyCharm, so you need to write codes and write neural networks, and that suits time series, NLP, uh, CNNs, and traditional machine learning. Maybe, yeah, 5 exercises. And you need to submit 5 models in order to pass the test. And the models need to have a certain accuracy over like I'm not sure, like 80 or so, 85 or something. And that was a good thing to do. It is a non-free exam to do, $100 maybe. And yeah, I think it is important, and it helped me a lot to like maybe prove my knowledge to myself and then make one step further. um this is like for me a general introduction. I don't know what Ikram is planning to continue. Let's What do you think about having a question answer and maybe discussion?
Yeah, that would be great. Uh, if anyone in audience have any questions, they can ask about the TensorFlow certification or a learning path.
That would be great. I can like tell you more about the TensorFlow certification. Let me share my screen. Is Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
So this is the actual website of the TensorFlow certification. Uh, there, there is a question or something. Okay, I see it later. So this is the website of TensorFlow and the certification, and you can see here it's $100 exam, and you learn during the exam. That's a benefit, that's true. You receive community recognition, you showcase your skills, and you can find talents within the community. So that's the community and the network, and you can see here like there's not much people that has the certification, 2000 in the world, which is like nice. And like here you can even say it's like search for people who have done the exam and who have passed the exam. So uh, you could register for the exam really easy, and they give you some steps to prepare yourself. So first, you need to see something called Candidate Handbook, which is like a Q&A about the exam. Then you need to register. Then you need to prepare your environment, like install PyCharm, the IDE, and some details also. Taking the exam would be like 5 hours long, and if you fail the exam, you would need to pay again to have it again. So I think there's somewhere that, yeah, okay. So they recommend some courses that you can take in order to pass the exam. This one is really, really important. Deep Learning with AI TensorFlow Developer Certification, which is a 4 courses, I think. Yeah, 4 courses exam course specialization. The first one is Introduction into AI and Machine Learning and Deep Learning. Second one is CNN in TensorFlow. Third one is NLP in TensorFlow. Fourth is Sequence Time Series and Prediction in TensorFlow. So you need to know that you're gonna be using TensorFlow only because obviously it is a TensorFlow exam, and this is a developer certification. It's not an engineering certification. You know that's like there's a big difference here, and it's like really important to know that okay, there's some criteria that you need to follow, that you're gonna do a TensorFlow 2.x and not 1.x. You need Those are the skills that you need to have in order to pass the exam. For example, here we have the TensorFlow developer skills. You need to know how to use Python. You need to resolve Python issues, compile and run PyCharm. You need to know how to find information about TensorFlow APIs and wherever in TensorFlow, like that's how to search into TensorFlow while doing, the exam. Second type of skills at building and training neural network using TensorFlow 2.0 with all the details, image classification, NLP classification or NLP cases, time series, and sequence prediction. So the exam environment would preferably have it would be great if you have a GPU on your machine while you're doing it, because it will fasten the process like 10 times more. And otherwise it's okay because you have 5 hours to submit your exam, so you have some extra time. So yeah, and you need to showcase an ID or something or a passport, and those countries are not possible for them to do the exam. I'm not sure why. And yeah, that's it. I think that's everything. And this is another course that is also by TensorFlow for the exam. Um, yeah, that's it, I think. So whoever has questions, I would be really happy to answer.
Uh, Amar, can you please mention that how you learned TensorFlow and what were prerequisites you used when you were preparing for this specific certification? So maybe people also can follow
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's super great question. Like for me, I'm coming from a software engineering background, and I like TensorFlow, Python all my life. So this is something to start off. I know Python. I know Python somehow good. Like I'm not gonna say really good. I'm gonna say good. You know, like I can run programs really fast without how I understand the compiler of Python and how it runs. So that's a starting point for me. And then I moved along towards knowing uh, the AI intuition. This is what Andrew always says. So, what's behind AI and what is the idea of doing AI in a certain case? Like it is possible to do AI in every case. For example, if I have a the equation of y equal to x plus one, I could do AI to solve this. But I can also solve this in a traditional way, which is better. So you need to know when you need to use AI. And then I did the specialization, the one that I was showing you, the TensorFlow developer specialization on Coursera. I'm gonna send the link. And after finishing the specialization, I have done some readings on online about people who finished the TensorFlow developer certification, and they posted their story or how they prepared themselves. And there's also some books that are really important for me when I was preparing the yeah. So there's a book by Lawrence Moroney, a Google Brain someone who works with Google Brain in AI, and it's called AI and Machine Learning for Coders. And this is a really important book. It's a bit expensive on Amazon, so I bought it as a Kindle and I printed it, which I'm not sure is lots it's legal, but I did it. So uh, so this book really helps after doing the certification to finish the exam. And if you have already some background, I think this is enough for you. I think this is enough to pass the exam because it is a developer exam at the end. It's not an AI exam, you know. So yeah, this is how I prepared myself to the exam, and at the end, I did some like tests and samples to make sure that the environments work well and the Python IDE works well. And you need to know and focus on this point. If you register for the exam and you press the start button, you can never stop it or but like you need to finish the exam then, or it's gonna be you're gonna lose your tentative.
Perfect. One more thing is coming in my mind that Amar, you mentioned previously that there is two different people who are working in AI developers and AI engineers. So TensorFlow certification is lot of looking like AI developers because TensorFlow is in that abstract level API where we cannot work
No,
in really low
no,
level.
no. I
Okay, you
don't
disagree
agree
with
on
that.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't agree. Yeah,
Okay.
because it is not possible now to identify an AI engineer and to test his abilities, you know? Like what would you ask him to do? What would the exam be? Like how would you make an exam for something abstract, you know?
Okay.
And like being an AI engineer is something a bit abstract, and you would learn more about this if you read this book. Like it's a mini book called Machine Learning Yearing by Andrew and G.
Okay,
It's available for free online. I can have the link if you want. Give me a moment.
okay.
I'm not finding it right now.
That's okay. We can have it later. It is actually, the manuscript is available on deeplearning.ai website. It was
Yeah,
available.
I think.
Yeah. So actually, we were talking about AI engineers. Can you be more specific in differentiating between them? Because a lot of people right now just know TensorFlow and are making CAD or classifier and don't exactly know what is happening behind the scene. So they are good in TensorFlow. They have done this developer specialization, but they are not good in statistics, in linear algebra, and don't know actually what is, how gradient descent is working on bigger networks. So I was talking about that. Is it important near you that the every person working in AI should have a touch with the research and should know the background of the algorithm, how it is working, so maybe he can optimize it in a better way and can make good decisions?
So that's really important thing to think of. So the main idea is that you should all know, and I should also know, that no one would ever know everything about AI. Is that like we do all agree on that? That no one would ever know everything, like
Yeah,
it's a very big thing. Even like TensorFlow, you would never in your whole life know everything about TensorFlow. It has lots and of contributors and people who are writing new code and new libraries into TensorFlow. So this is a big word. So you need to decide where you want to be. If you want to go into research, that's great, but you need to know some basics and some backends. But if you want to go into industry, like for example, if your industry, the company that hired you, works into pictures, no need to ever think about knowing NLP. So what's the case? What's the point of it? Developing yourself, you have a lot to learn into pictures and CNNs and like everything that is possible to do with pictures and AI. So that's what I think about the possibility of doing such thing. Like running into learning everything, that something that isn't possible, is worse than deciding to learn one thing. So decide and learn one thing and go into it at the end. That would be great, right?
so actually AI engineers, you said that they know the AI better than AI developers because AI developers just developing it using tools, right?
Uh, that's something debatable. So this way you would say that like a software developer is always worse than a software engineer.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense, right? Like there's a software developer who's really talented, and there's a software engineer who doesn't know anything,
Okay.
who claims to be a software engineer.
Yeah.
If you are a good software developer, that would be super great, and that would be super exciting for people to hire you.
Yeah.
And if you would be a bad software engineer, no one would ever hire you, you know? So that's the point. And it doesn't work like this. You cannot always you cannot always like choose who's better and who's more fruitful and who's more like who does more work for.
Yeah. Actually, I think that's a good discussion about AI developer and AI engineer. Let's come back to the learning path, and I would like to discuss a little bit other than TensorFlow, because it would be great if anyone would start with the basics of the actual machine learning, not on some platform dependent or library
Yeah,
dependent.
exactly. Which is, yeah, like deeply the machine learning course by Andrew
Yeah.
at Stanford,
Yeah.
like
Uh,
which is available for free on YouTube. Everyone should go through this, right?
yeah, that's the course that millions of users have done. And can you share some other resources or book you have done or maybe available so that the students can go
Okay,
through?
so there's a book called uh, Introduction to Deep Learning from Logical Calculus to Artificial Intelligence. I'm gonna write the name and someone would please from logical calculus to AI by uh, Sandro Scansi. Okay, this is a really great book, and it is available for free. It gives you lots of insight of the math that is behind the AI thing, you know, and not neural networks, and not CNNs, and not GANs, and not transformers. Um, this is like a storytelling of how AI was born from from the basic ideas like to 2017. Let me say this was on 2018 something, I think. Yeah, so that's a great book. This is a booklet by Andrew, machine learning gearing, that talks about the state, like it states a technical strategy for AI engineers, you know, in the era of deep learning and everything like this. So this is a yearly book that goes out from Andrew, and he updates it. And there's the famous AI and machine learning for coders by Lawrence, I think, Lawrence Morania. So those are the book resources. The course resources, I would strongly recommend everything related to deep learning AI, because I've taken them and I know that they work really hard in them and they are really good. You know, it's not only that they work hard on those books, the books, sorry, the courses are really good, and like it's really great um, to have someone that you know that you have someone working really hard behind the scenes to make a good course, technically and academically, and I don't know, the style of the videos and the available resources and everything that they offer. It's really great. And they even update the courses. For example, now we just finished updating the deep learning course by Deep Learning AI, the deep learning specialization, which is really famous. And it was open to the public on the 7th of April, the update. So yeah, that's it. Those are the resources for me, I think. And you must always, I think, um, do projects on the side. This is what I insist to do. A big project every month to achieve a goal using some sort of data, and you need to change the type of data, because you know, using the same type of data is like repeating the same work. So yeah, that's it.
Hey Amar, I do
Yeah,
have a question.
yeah, sure.
That most of the machine learning or deep learning algorithms are like developed by people who are mostly working in academia. So for someone who is working in the industry, how important is it for him to have like advanced knowledge of the maths behind it? Because I think that the type of tasks that we face in the industry can be solved by the algorithms that are already available or developed by someone else.
I'm gonna give you a counter example now, and
Yeah.
it's a four letters thing. Uber. Uber needed to develop its own algorithm. The academia didn't give it anything. And the thing here, myself, is a combination between academia and industry, because I'm doing my PhD in a company. So the company needs to do research and development, and they cooperate with the university to do that. So it's never, if you have a really complicated type of data, like for example, let me say that you have a bank that has lots of sources of security, and let's say we have lots of sensors like cameras, like infrared lines, like I'm not sure, like things that weigh the ground if someone's stepping on it, and maybe username and password and different types of data. What would you do then? How would you do an AI algorithm that decides if you need to call the police or not to protect the bank? So is that available in the academia? Would anyone do it in the near future? I don't think so. So yeah, industry needs to find its own solution, and it's doing that. Like Facebook, like Airbnb, like Google, like Uber, everyone. The industry is working on its solutions when it needs to. It's not a one answer thing, you know. Like academia couldn't do the whole job for everyone, and uh, the actual models that are being developed by the industry are being deployed like 100% more times than the academia ones.
Yeah, you're right. The academia usually just uh, like present a paper or a different type of architecture of the models. You are right about that.
Yeah, exactly. And then the industry needs to accept that or not, depending on how good is it.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure, but your mic is a bit. I'm not sure if it's only me who's hearing that.
Actually, Talha asked question in a chat. Amar, if you can read that.
Yeah. So where is Talha? Okay. So when will you teach TensorFlow on IDE?
That would be
What?
great contribution to the community.
I would teach TensorFlow on IDE. I can do it now, but like there's no time. Like
Actually, maybe he's asking. Maybe you can develop a playlist uh, by teaching TensorFlow on maybe YouTube. Have you any plans to teach
No, 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 no,
TensorFlow?
no. I am asking about. I was just joining the session. I was thinking that the Ammar sir will be teach the TensorFlow on the PyCharm or Jupyter like. So I was asking about it.
No, no, actually, Talha, this is just to discuss the learning path, how you can enter in AI or learn AI, different things in AI. And there is one specific thing in which Amar is specialized, and that is TensorFlow. So we actually was touching that area. How can you learn TensorFlow? And he was sharing the resources, and how can you also contribute in TensorFlow certification or have that certification for you. So actually, this session is not for workshop. Maybe we can have him in
yeah,
later
yeah. I
sessions.
I was actually thinking that the project of last month that I did is really cool, and I'm really happy with the result. And I can make like a 1 hour retake of the whole code, and we can test it together because yeah, it's not organized now in my Jupyter notebook, but I can organize it a bit.
Yeah, that would be great. It would be great to have you on that. Is there any other questions from the audience?
Yes, sir. I just want to ask another question is about what about your opinions about R language? It is also very popular in statistics and for modeling in AI. So, is there any way
Choose
in
wherever
which
language
how
you
can
like.
we?
Choose wherever
eh,
choose assembly if you like, but you need to be competent with it, you know. Just make sure that you can do everything with the language and go with it. Do assembly if actually this is literally what I know someone who is crazy enough to do that. He's from India actually, and he does develop the libraries, many libraries in assembly.
Okay, or and can is there any library that have a lot of functions like TensorFlow in R, or can we integrate TensorFlow with R?
I think that TensorFlow is already on R, but not in the full version. Like there's like 20 or 30%, which is Keras or something, But I don't know lots about R. I know that I can do Python really well, and I didn't bother myself to learn other languages and think about how would AI be in other languages, because it's a language. We can now move to French. I can speak French as well, so we can move to French, and I would give you the same ideas. You know, it doesn't make any difference what's the language that we're using, but the difference is within the information itself.
Okay, mostly cases I have seen that mostly major part of the AI is how can we understand the data set. I think it's all about how can we understand the data set, and if I have to predict the sales price of a market, then uh, can you tell me about, just guide me a little bit about it, that which model I have to use, classification, regression, just guide me a little
What
bit.
type of market are we talking about?
Talking about a market data set, previous data. A market have a lot of data sets, so I just want to predict the future price of the different products.
Stock market are we
So
talking?
I am talking about supermarket products, just like a
Okay.
dairy product, biscuits.
Okay, okay.
So I just want to predict the future price of these products. So which algorithm I have to use?
Okay, so this is very like there's no one answer for this, as you know, or else you would know the answer already. So you should always start looking at your data. So what's the type of the data that you have? Do you have a data of the price of each individual like piece in the market for a long time? What's the type that we're talking about here? Like you have one price of like, let's say, the vegetables, the something in the market for a year or something, and this is what you want to use to predict uh tomorrow's value.
I just want to predict sales of the store using given data set.
Sales
J.
and not the
Say
price.
J. Uh, I just want to predict
How
future
much
price
would
of
we
the.
say like how much would we sell of this, right?
Yeah,
Actually, he
yes.
might be asking for time series problem, the forecasting of different prices.
Exactly.
So it would be great if you can
No,
recommend
no, no.
him.
I think he's not talking about the price. He's talking about the sales. How many would
Yes,
we
yes, yes.
sell?
I am asking about the sales. For example,
The demand of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
product,
market
what it
and
will
this
be.
is
is know
also
that.
dependent, on what's the type of data that you have. So if you have some data that are daily sales of a certain product over a year, it would be different that having maybe weekly sales of the product over 10 years, and then you would need to think about the like okay, let me tell you something. The model thing, like which is the model that you need to use, is the last thing that you should worry about. The first 70% of the problem is your data, and you need to manage your data and make it look well. For example, I had a big problem once. I had a data set of years and something happening in the years. It's the number of tornadoes in a city, the city that is really famous for tornadoes. And I wanted to predict next year number of tornado, but the problem is that in 1 year, like I had recordings until 1920, but in 1965 or 56 or something, there wasn't a recording. So I inputted the data, and I was having a big error popping up once over and over again. And until I went back to the data, I knew that I have no value there. So it was NA, so not applicable. So I fixed this. So you need to spend time on your data, and then you need to worry about the model, right? And I would actually recommend the machine learning course by Andrew and G again, because there's something that a great example that he gives about housing prices and how would they vary with different algorithms of AI. That would be super great for you.
Hi, sir. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I want to ask about feature engineering and about deep learning relationship. Sir, many of the AI instructors says that the deep learning you does not need to be do feature engineering. Is it true? And how much it is true in case of TensorFlow or deep learning?
Okay. That's a great question. And first of all, you need to understand what is CNN, what is convolutional neural networks. CNN, a convolution is a feature extraction method. So we need to know that whenever you use CNN, you are already extracting features. So for example, if you are able to extract features without the need of a CNN, of a convolution, it would be better. So your pictures, the pictures you have, you would extract the features from them statically, and then you would enter them to the machine learning model then, because it uses less computational power than the deep learning one. So if you are able to extract your features, extract them and use SVM. That doesn't need lots of computational power. But if you are not able, for example, in the cat versus dogs example, you're not able to extract features yourself. So you need to do something. For example, CNNs, or like anything that is automatic feature extraction. The known one is CNN. So you would use CNN and you would extract some features, and that would be great for you. And it works really great. And there is no difference between TensorFlow and other libraries with whatever comes to feature extraction and stuff like this, because this is something related to the layer itself, and the layer is something unified between the libraries, because uh, it's not the libraries who design the layers, you know.
So, Mar, I also have a question. So there is a problem like information retrieval. So I was like stuck at that because I was having a very small amount of data set, and it was related to health and safety data set. So in
Of what?
future,
Sorry.
I'm
What of what?
health and safety data set,
Health and
and
safety. Okay.
okay. So it was very small. It was like 400 to 500 observations, and the sentences were so small. And I was like, how I would like
How many
you.
classes do you have?
Uh, I'm not using classes for that. I'm just like
States.
using
How
fuzzy
how,
search
how many
kind of
states are
thing.
you differentiating?
I'm just like using fuzzy
Okay.
searching for this time, because dataset is so small that I can't use neural networks or machine learning. So in future, I'm thinking that I could go for ranking SVM. So on
Did you
basis
think
of
about augmentation,
uh, the
data
dataset,
augmentation?
the dataset is like so sensitive that I can't do data augmentation or
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Like it's sensitive data, and we are like uh, giving suggestions to user on him typing some queries. So we
Okay.
want that when the user is typing a query, he selects a observation that is most relevant to his query. And in
Okay.
future, when he searches that query, the selected observation is ranked on top using ranking SVM.
Okay. So that's the case that you had. You didn't have much data, so you were obliged not to use CNN, right?
Yep. I wanted to use LSTM and RNN. But now
LSTM.
I'm using
So what's the time? What's the where does the time involves here? What's the point?
the point is that I don't know like how people would handle such small data set, like for searching and
No
NLP.
one actually knows. That
Um,
would be a great
I mean, like
that would be a great solution for the community if you can solve that.
I was
So like if you have seen Andrew's talk lately, I'm gonna send the link. Um, so Andrew was talking about moving from model-centric approaches toward data-centric approaches. This is a 1 hour talk. It is way more fruitful than listening to me for 1 hour. So I really recommend seeing this video. So here Andrew talks about moving from focusing on the model towards focusing on the data, because the model isn't showing a very good improvement of accuracy. So therefore, you need to work more on your data. You need to collect more samples. That's the end story.
I have solved this problem for now with pre-trained models like BERT and Word2Vec.
Okay, that's great. That's great to hear.
So I was first using Word2Vector model created by myself, but it wasn't giving satisfactory results.
Okay.
So I used pre-trained models. So that is a great solution for AI if you have small data sets.
Oh, that I didn't know. That's a good thing to know. Where where did you get the pre-trained model?
Word2Vector is already
Kaggle?
pre-trained by Google,
Okay,
and
okay.
BERT models are already available.
Yeah,
So
sure.
it's great in NLP.
Okay. That's really great. Well done.
Sir, can I also ask you something about
Yeah,
dataset?
sure.
Sir, sometimes we have problem that the dataset is very small. How can we deal with the problems that have small dataset? Like in initial stages of COVID, we have small datasets, and how we should work for the small dataset and with small datasets.
Okay, I would recommend a course for this question. It would be a long answer then. It is like a 20 hours course. It is by Deep Learning AI as well. In the deep learning specialization, I think that's the first course of deep learning specialization. Sorry, I'm gonna send the link here. And the third week, I think, they speak about data augmentation and solving problems with small data sets. So that would be great for you, right?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Andrew would answer the question way better than I do.
Okay, thank you very much.
Oh,
Perfect.
sorry.
Can I ask a
Okay, please,
question?
please. I'm really sorry. Forgive me. It's the second course. I sent the link. Okay,
Can
it's
I ask a
called.
question?
Yeah, sure.
And what is the most best way to cleaning the data about should I have to neglect the whole row or I should fill it with the average value or select the mode or something else?
It is case specific and it is application specific. So in every application, let me tell you something. In the PhD that I'm doing, we had two types of data, of input data, and using both of them would like it wouldn't be possible to use both of them because we have very low memory and we are working on the edge, so we have very high restrictions with what comes to memory and and computational power and the power consumption. So we had blood pressure of a person and his heartbeats. So if you can find a relation between blood pressure and heartbeats, it would be great because you would have both data with one column. But if there is not, that says that every one of those is significant by itself. So it's not possible to remove any of them. So, and this is how I'm answering you. There is no one answer for this. It is case specific. It depends on the application.
Yeah,
Clear
perfect.
enough?
We are now a little short on time. Anyone has any important question related to the maybe path, AI path and TensorFlow certification? Okay. Sabi, can you hear me?
Yeah, Kram, I can hear you.
If you
So
can,
thank you. Yeah, I think I'm going to conclude the session. But before that, I would like to express that I'm grateful for Mr. Ammar's presence here today, and he has greatly explained the TensorFlow certification to us. And it was a great pleasure to have you here as a speaker, Ammar. And
The pleasure is mine.
I
Thank you.
hope you equally enjoyed the session with us. And I
The
would like
pleasure
to
is mine.
thank all the attendees as well for attending and participating. And I hope you guys are motivated to take on this TensorFlow certification as well. So I wish to see you all in our future events as well. And thanks a lot once again. Please take care and have a nice weekend.
Bye bye, everyone. Have a nice day. Ciao, ciao.
Bye, Amar.